yet, but the day's running a little bit behind, so we're making it work. Yes, Charlene, this will be recorded, so don't worry, you can always watch the replays of these. The benefit of attending live is that you get to ask Q&A live in the chat, but if you can't make it, these are always available for you. So I've got a lot of background noise, and as you can see, also background light. So I'm gonna kind of be in and out to give Courtney, who's in a more silent area, our fuller attention. But super excited about this. Here, I'm gonna turn my notifications off so that my computer stops dinging at everyone. All the way through. So I'm super excited about this. This is Courtney Bird on my team. Courtney and I work together every single day. So I see her face every day on screen and off in our offices. And we work together on several clients. And one of the things that has been taking up a majority of our time lately has been paid social, just in the way things have been going. And so I thought that Courtney is actually going to be teaching a General Assembly class at Social Media Week in Austin. And so this is just a little sneak peek for those of you who aren't local to me, which is most of you. So I'm excited to get her attention here for this. I know a lot of us work on paid social for our clients, and she's got some really cool tips and tricks. And we were kind of talking about how to format this and thought it might be cool, since we've got some ads to set up today, if we do a screen share there and we can do a mini little live action walkthrough. So without further ado, Courtney, I'll hand it over to you and we can get started.
All right, thank you. Glad you made it. Hey y'all, I don't know if y'all have seen my previous class that I did. Claire, you're still, is this, are you gonna keep your video up? I think you muted yourself, so I just wanted to make sure that you were good the way that you are. Okay, I've done this once with Claire before. I had a really good time. My session before was onboarding clients the first 30 days. And what I got, the feedback that I got from that session was that people really liked the fact that it was more actionable and tactical, which is what I prefer when I attend sessions. So that's my goal for this session and my General Assembly class over Social Media Week. And since this is kind of like a trial run, any feedback you have for me, something that was unclear or something that I left out would be great. I'd love to hear it. All right, so like Claire said, we're going to do kind of a live action walkthrough. We're gonna start from the very beginning of giving an agency or a partner or yourself through a client access to your page or ad account. And then we're gonna move all the way through the process of making sure the pixel is installed, creating your audiences, and then creating your ad campaign. And then at the end, I'll show you some tools that we use to create creative. Yes.
I can't. There we go. Are we recording? I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, we're recording.
Okay, perfect. Just after I said, don't worry, you can always watch the replay. Yes, yeah, so this might be a little funny because if I mute out, then I can't unmute, but we can go back and forth and I can participate in the chat. So go for it.
Yeah, sorry. You're just gonna have to. The whole process, choosing objectives, linking them to KPIs, setting up the ads, and then at the end, of course, I'll show you some of our favorite tools that we use to kind of hack the system with creative, creating video, turning your blogs into video. It's one of my favorite tools, Claire too. And then at the end, if we have any time, we'll do Q&A, and if you want to like throw some of your strategy questions at us, then Claire and I can give you our feedback. All right, so first things first. All right, are you good? You can see my screen? Awesome. This is a handy dandy guide that we made. Our goal this year is to create systems and document them for our clients. So this is a step in that direction. I used this app that we got through AppSumo called Step Shot Guides. It's amazing. So check it out if you like this, but this will walk you through how to add a partner, agency, or yourself through your client to a Facebook page and ad account. The slightly irritating thing Let's see what this chat says. Can we have a copy of it? Claire, can I have a copy of it? Okay, sure. Yes, I guess I'll either send it to Wednesday or Claire or post it in the group or something. We'll get it to you. All right, so the annoying thing with Facebook is that you have to repeat this process twice, once for the page and once for the ad. And if you don't do it twice, then you'll be missing permissions somewhere. So just walking through it, the thing that you'll need to either give to your partner or get from them is a business ID and ad account ID. And then you'll go into your business settings in your business manager. So when you open your business manager, in the top right corner, there's the green button. Or no, that's not the green button, that's create ads. In the top right corner, it'll say business settings, or when you go to your menu drop down, it's in that menu that pops up. And then you'll go to business info, and this people screen will be your internal team. So right here, this is all of our account managers, and these are all of our clients. But what you're gonna do is get your business ID if you haven't already. It's either on business info or it's in the URL up here. And then go back into pages. And this is where you're going to add a new one by clicking add new page. Oh, so it's walking you through the whole thing, but you'll click add new page here. A pop-up shows up, which I feel like used to be here somewhere. Yeah, here we go. I don't know why it's selected ad accounts here. Maybe I should edit that. So add new page. And you'll have a pop-up to start typing in the page that you want to add, and then you'll assign partner, connect partner to page. You can either send them this link, but what we prefer to do is connect your page using your partner's business ID. So when you click that, you can assign their role here and then their business ID, and that's when they show up in your business manager for their page. And then you'll create that, you'll redo that entire process for ad accounts. This document takes it step by step. It feels like there's way less screenshots here than you'll actually see, but I will absolutely share this with you, and then you'll have it to refer to, and you can even share it with your clients too. But it'll take you step by step. So far, we've had success with 3 clients using this. So I'm thinking that it's much better than this like piecemeal explanation I'm doing. So share that with you. But let's assume that we're added to the page. Nope. We're added to the page in the ad account, and we want to make sure that the pixel is installed. So then you'll come in here, you'll go to pixels, and let me get out of here so I can still see you if I need to, Claire. Oops. So you'll come in here and you'll notice that it breaks out your account by business ID and ad account. Ad accounts can only have 1 pixel. Business manager accounts, which is the business ID account, can have up to 10. So if you only have 1 website that you want to track activity for, then you can just create 1 pixel in your ad account. If you've got multiple websites or multiple clients, then you can create up to 10 in your business account. A best practice that we recommend is that you create the pixel under your client's ad account and or business manager, so you're not burning through those 10 pixels that you have, just in case you need them down the line. So we've already created a pixel under our business account for us, but what I'm going to show you is as if we haven't done that yet and we're starting from scratch. So I'm going to switch over to our ad account, which does not have a pixel yet, and act like I'm creating one. Okay, so when you first start your pixel, and Claire said that Jessie covers this in formal classes too, so I'm going to kind of breeze through this a little bit because you'll have that to refer to, but this can just be another touch point. Create pixel. The 3 options for creating the pixel will be if you do the code yourself, or I was going to do this, but I don't know if I want to burn it. I'll do it. We'll just say pixel 2. Oh, no. If you do the code yourself, then you can just copy paste straight from here. You can email the instructions to a developer if someone else does it for you, or you can use one of the partner integrations like Shopify, WordPress, BigCommerce. I'll show you those as well. or Google Tag Manager, which is really great. Google Tag Manager, if you're unfamiliar, oh, there's a chat, let's see. Oh, yeah. I mean, we do it anyways. It was Claire. Google Tag Manager is great because once that's set up, then a marketer really has control over the different tags and different functions that you would normally rely on a developer for. So it takes a little bit of learning and a process of familiarization to get yourself up and running with it. But once you are, you can move much faster and do things on your own instead of having to wait for someone else. So if you haven't already done that, I would recommend putting that on your list of things, wish list to learn one day. So what I would do is just manually install the code myself. Hello? Pixel ID, some of them like Shopify, you can go into the business settings and just copy paste this and it's really easy. Other ones, this is where I can actually see the code. So when you install the code yourself, it's going to be this code here. For WordPress, which is what we're hosting our social media website on, you're going to go to settings and then insert header footer, and you'll just copy and paste in the header. It's the same for any website. You just want this information in the header. You'll find it in different places, obviously. But that's all it is copy, paste, save, and you're good to go. Or you can do it straight within Facebook Business Manager using the partner integration. So what I'm at, I was at Pixels. I'll go back to this one. Pixels, and then you just click partner integrations up here. And then you choose whichever one. And this just walks you, it's really, WordPress is a little annoying because you have to download a plugin and then do all that. So I just prefer copy and paste. And this is red because we have our other Pixel installed, but ideally this will be green. And once you have it installed, whichever method you use, you'll go to your website and there is a Google Chrome extension. It's called the Facebook Pixel Helper. If you install that, okay, so I'm gonna need to check that. Something happened when I just installed that second Pixel. It wasn't there before. Make a little note for myself. Once you install it, this will show you a troubleshooting. So ideally, both of these will be checked in any other event that you have set up. The custom events are page view, purchase, and when you're walking through that process, you'll get to a screen where you can just toggle on which ones you want to be included in your code. So they're usually page view, checkout initiated, purchase. Those are some of the most popular ones. And then you can go and create custom events for very specific actions on your website. You can only create up to 20 of those and you can never edit or delete them. So be very particular and selective about which ones you actually create custom events for. And you can use Google Tag Manager otherwise.
I just wanted to say too, Pixels used to be a lot more complicated. You used to have to install them on every page. And so a lot of people weren't using them because it was too big of a headache. Now you just install it once on the header and it will track anyone who goes to any of your landing pages. You don't need a separate Pixel event to just track people who go to landing pages. You only need Pixel events for them taking a specific action on a page. So you don't, it's not like you have to burn all your events on these different landing pages that you have. But if you want to track, if someone is buying a product and puts it in their cart but doesn't purchase it, that would be an abandoned cart event that you could then retarget them with Facebook ads and say, hey, we noticed you were interested in this. But Pixels are just a lot easier than they used to be. As you see, Courtney just went through it in a minute, and it's really, really helpful and necessary for retargeting anyone who's been to your website in the past 6 months or so, so that you can retarget them as kind of a middle funnel. That's all I have.
Thank you, Claire. Yes, very good point. Oh, well, I was going to try to find the toggle screen to show you how, but it is super easy. And the more people and companies that are using the Pixel, the partner integrations are making it much easier. All right, so once you come here, ideally these will both be green, but if not like this, sometimes it'll be red. those are your problems. That's what you want to troubleshoot. If you do have specific events installed, like checkout initiated, you'll go to your product page, for example, and once you get more granular with your events, you'll need to go to those actual pages to make sure that everything is installed correctly there. But that pixel is a must-have. And then this, I'll put it in the chat. Navigating around all of these other things. Let's see. I'll put it in the chat, but it's a link. There we go. To the implementation guide. Super easy. It walks you through everything, and it even talks about once you do get it set up, how to set up conversion tracking and how to create the retargeting audiences. And so that is something to bookmark so that you can come back to it later. So once you do have the pixel installed, and all of this is kind of set up one-time thing. Once you go through this whole process, you won't have to do it again. You'll go straight into ad creation. So once you have the pixel set up, you can start running lead gen ads. You can start running all kinds of ads. Lead gen ads can be done without the pixel, but again, best practice is to install the pixel as a first thing. Once you get into lead gen ads, for example, you'll want to come in and make sure that you are integrating your CRM if possible. We use MailChimp, so you can integrate it through Zapier. And you'll come into your page, go to publishing tools, which is also where you find like your scheduled posts and your video library. Keep going down to lead setup, and then just walk yourself through this process to connect. Okay, so now I'm going to close out chat, Claire, so that I can see more of my screen behind all these different things. Let's see. Okay. So now we're kind of getting into the good part, the audiences. So there are 3 different types of audiences. There are custom audience, lookalike audience, and saved audience. Saved audiences are going to be your interest targeting. You're going to be able to target by all of these down here, for example, are saved audiences. So you can target by location and a mile radius of the location, age, gender, and then interest. So you can target. This is kind of where Claire and I say the data that Facebook has on you. And I know that she's gone over it several times before about how Facebook collects this data. If you have any questions on that, still let us know. But for now, I'm just going to skip over that part and kind of take you in to show you again some of like the creepier things that they know about you. Something that shocked me was that they found out very quickly that I was away from family when I moved recently. You can even target political views. You can target Facebook admins, which is useful to us for social media week. And then behaviors, you can come in here and target how people shop online, if they're investors, or depending on what kind of credit cards they use, if they shop at luxury department stores versus big box. And then you can come in here and do job role. So those are how you create your saved audiences. Your custom audiences are going to be customer files, so email subscriber lists, attendee lists, which is what we've imported for last year's attendees, website traffic. This is going to be the retargeting. So you'll go in here, and once I fix this again, now it's like linked to the wrong pixel. So imagine that this is green and working right. Once you come in here, you can come into people who visited specific web pages. So this is what Clara was mentioning. Instead of having to install different code or different events on each web page, it's just one copy paste code in the header. And then you can come in here and use your URL parameters to say someone that came to this web page, which could be a product page, for example, like / product name. And then the next one, exclude, you'll come in here and say people who visited specific web page, and then that can be your purchase page. So hashtag or /hashtag purchase or /checkout complete, whatever that tag is. And then so what that's doing is that's funneling those people who were trapped in the middle, your abandoned cart people. Or if you are doing a web traffic campaign and you're doing kind of a top funnel, cheap mobile traffic drive based on a blog article, then you can come in here later to retarget those people from that specific blog article to hit them with like a page likes campaign, or to hit them with an email opt-in, or get ready for that ask. So retargeting audiences are very good for warming a cold audience. App activity you'll use probably infrequently. Engagement is new and so exciting. So engagement audiences, you can create people who have engaged with any of these things. So videos, you can create audiences for people who have watched your video 3 seconds, 25%, 50%, 75%. Lead forms, people who completed your lead form or opened it and didn't complete your lead form. Your full screen experience, so the canvas, that's a creative option. Facebook page, this one is good. People who engaged with your page, visited your page, engaged with any post or ad, clicked the call to action button, sent your page a message, or saved your page or any page post. This is a good one to use because you're targeting an engaged audience, and so they're more likely to stay engaged with you. Your Instagram profile, and then events, which is what's useful to us right now because we are driving event responses. And so if someone is not ready to purchase a ticket yet and we drive the event responses and they say interested, later on we can go in and we can create an ad to an audience for just people who have responded interested and ping them again and say, don't forget, this is coming up in 2 weeks, you got to buy your ticket now, kind of thing. So for our purposes for this campaign, I'm going to be using lookalike of our 2017 attendees, which I've already created, lookalike for our 2018 purchasers, which I'll show you how to create in just a second, and then social media for work in the Texas top 5. So that one is going to be a saved audience that I've already gone in here and added. It is people living in Austin, Texas, 21 to 55. The interests, when you go in here, it looks like the interests are more broad, but they're pretty specific to work function being related to social media. So your job title is somehow related to social media. Community manager, coordinator, consultant, and then your industry is social media marketing. Another one that I've created that I want to toy with later is an and audience. Those are all or, so it'll match anyone that it meets one of those criteria. This one down here, or up here rather, is an and audience, which is going to be people living in Texas, male, female, 21 to 55. They are a small business owner and they are a Facebook page admin. So that is probably someone who hasn't outsourced their Facebook management yet and might want to, or someone who needs to learn how to get better at it, optimize their practice so that they can do it quicker and more efficiently. But this is going to exclude people that don't meet both of these criteria. And when you're creating these audiences, you can look at potential reach up here, and people like to see that number be really, really big, but the bigger it gets, the less targeted it gets. So your relevant score goes down. So I like to keep my numbers kind of around here. The lookalike audiences are always going to be in the 2.1 to 2.2 million, just because the lowest you can go is 1%, but you cannot create audiences for lookalike based on specific cities. You have to do that in the actual ad campaign. So this is just United States, which is why it's so big. So it'll actually get much smaller when we use it in a campaign. So creating the purchase audience. So I'm going to walk you through creating a custom audience now. We are going to do customer file, import from MailChimp. So we're going to take this straight out of MailChimp. What we have going on is when someone purchases a ticket through Eventbrite, that immediately pushes that email address to our MailChimp account, which now will immediately push it back into our Facebook account. And this is happening in real time, so we don't have to export and import. Exporting and importing is fine, and sometimes it's what you have to do for your clients because their CRM just isn't integrated with Facebook. Check out Zapier to see if it's somehow integrated with that, or Zapier. But it's fine. You'll get people where they need to be, but there's a lag time versus how quickly you can have them updated to the CRM and then back into Facebook again too. So this is our campaign list for those Eventbrite purchasers. Create audience. Next. So that created my custom audience. Now I want to go create a lookalike audience from that custom audience. So expand your audience. Sometimes it'll just straight up say create lookalike audience. Location, this is where I was talking about you can't do specific states, but you can do cities, or sorry, countries. Okay, 1%, 2%, 5%, and the higher up you get, the more broad that lookalike audience gets, so it's less targeted, but the bigger it gets. So if you really want to like do a huge net, which I've never worked with an audience of 10.6 million, but there's a time and place for everything, I guess. So you can create one of these, you can create 3 of these, you can create all 10 of these. I like to work with 1, maybe sometimes 2. And I'm sure that you'll notice in here that we have kind of a naming system. We use naming mechanisms where we can for our audiences, campaigns, and ad sets. It just helps us stay organized. So I recommend coming up with something that works for you. Mine is very acronym heavy. Claire tends to spell things out more, which, you know, pick your poison. Mine, I usually do kind of my variable in the front. So this is social media marketing. This is Facebook admins. This is social media interests, social media for work, sorry. And then like small business owner and Facebook admin. So my variable is usually at the front, and then my demographic information, male, female, age, and then my location information. And then the plus 25, plus 50, that's my mile radius. Lookalike audiences, I usually just leave however they've been named, but when you start to get a lot of audiences in here, I'll rename those to LL1%, fans of X page, US, or whatever other countries. I just recommend coming up with some kind of naming mechanism that stays consistent so that you can scale it when you need to. All right, so we've got all of our audiences in here now. Great. Okay, now we're gonna create our ad. Any questions so far? I don't see chat popping up, so I assume not. Okay, onward. So when you come into Ads Manager, you go to your Business Manager, and then you'll go to your ad account or Power Editor, however you prefer to use it. Create ad. And this is your first page for choosing your objective. And what Facebook does is they break it down based on overall goal, so awareness, brand awareness, and reach. And if you hover on this little eye, it'll break it down even further and tell you exactly which each one is. Consideration, so this is more of like you want someone to take an action on the ad itself versus conversion, which is you want someone to take an action on the actual website. So sales or even offline actions like store visit or call a salon to make an appointment or submit a consultation form for a free consultation. So whatever it is here, you'll select your objective, and I always like to tie my objective directly to a business goal. So it's very clear to our client what the objective is and what the business goal is and what the KPI is, how we're going to track the effectiveness of that campaign. So for brand awareness, for example, you might track things like overall reach or impressions, or over time you can track sentiment or brand mentions. Traffic, we will be tracking link clicks and CTR and CPC, but then you can also track landing page views. If you have Google Analytics installed, you can track bounce rate and session duration, which will help you improve relevance score. KPI is a key performance indicator. So KPI is, it's like a one, so ROI is kind of this overall holistic thing. Some people get these confused, but KPI is kind of the actual individual metrics that you look at versus ROI is taking all of those metrics into consideration. Yeah. So if you don't have Google Analytics installed, I would recommend doing that. And that's where you can get really granular and start to really optimize. And it can be very helpful if your relevance score is low. That's how you can improve it. Naming conventions, I have notes for myself so that I don't forget. Okay, so let's just get started. Whoops. Refresh that. My naming convention for campaign, we always use BPM at the front of it so that when we are in a client ad account, especially one that shares that ad account with others, we can filter out all of those campaigns and only use campaign name includes BPM to just show ours. Okay, good. Wanted to make sure that I was in the right account. All right, so traffic. So I do BPM dash, and then I do the objective, some kind of acronym. So like BA, REA, TRAF, ENG, VV, LG, CONB, SV. I do some kind of acronym there to identify the objective. And then the last one I do is something that's campaign specific. So for this one, since we just announced our speakers today, I'm going to do speaker 1. So what this means is it's my first sprint for the speaker announcement. We probably won't do very many speaker announcement sprints, but I do like to put that number on there, especially for things like page likes campaigns or conversion campaigns where you are doing sprints and iterating that on a regular time frame. You can really just copy the campaign and change that number and then go in and change your specific ad sets or ads, and it streamlines the whole process, makes it much quicker. This create split test, I thought I would really love it. I was very happy when it came out, and there's definitely a time and place for it. I am a control freak, and that kind of takes away some of your control with the actual ad campaign setup. But if you are all about efficiency and moving quickly, so Claire probably really likes this too because she just spits stuff out. I get in the weeds. I'm a details person, which is probably why I'm rambling about this checkbox. So if you are a details person, I just go in and duplicate my ad sets. But if you're not, then go ahead and try that split campaign. You can also go in and try create multiple new ad sets. I typically use this, and I create my ad sets based on my A/B test variable. It can get a little confusing because you have to be pretty familiar with how Ads Manager works. So once you're more familiar, I would recommend going in here and fiddling with this. It makes it much easier. So instead of creating one ad set and then duplicating that and changing your variables and then duplicating that again and changing those variables, you can come in here and just create 3 different ones all right here. So, but to go back to the way that I would recommend starting with to familiarize yourself, ad set. So I usually, if my variable is audience, I'll just name my ad set with the audience. But if my variable is something else like format, like if I'm doing a video versus a link, or if I'm doing this blog versus this blog. So if there's some kind of creative, I'll do like BPM, and then like my audience here, some kind of thing that's going to help me remember, and then whatever that creative or AB variable is. So like Canvas, if I was doing that, or blog 1, if I was doing that, or some kind of something that's campaign or ad set specific on the end of it. But since so my AB variable for this campaign is going to be audience. So since I'm doing audience, I'm going to come back later and name it. So I can just copy and paste them down here. Website, app, messenger, most of the time you'll just do website. Offer, these ads we've tested, they're really good for things that have a like a promo code. So if we were offering a promo code for speaker announcement, I could turn this on and create an offer ad. And it's cool because when someone views the offer, they can save it, and then if they don't use the offer before it expires, then Facebook will remind them in their notifications the day before that it's about to expire. So it's that second touch point that you get with them. Sometimes people just aren't ready to act on an ad that they see. Like they're sitting in a meeting and scrolling through Facebook when they really should be paying attention at work, and they can't make a call or get out their credit card. So they want to save the post, but then who really goes back to their saved posts? I have like 300 of them. So the offer ad is really good to make it do that second step of pinging them again before expiration. But what we've noticed with offer ads is that they're still a relatively new ad format. And so people are they're not really sure how to engage with them yet. And since they are a bit more qualified, they do tend to be more expensive, but with the correct optimizations, they can be really successful. So if you're using a saved audiences, you can come here, or you can create a new one. Or if you're using a custom audience, like a lookalike, like we're doing, you'll come in here, and this one says less than 20 because I think it's still populating. So I'm just going to skip that for now and come into the 2017 attendee lookalike. So we'll do that. And then you can come in here and edit locations. Let's do just Austin for now. And we'll do Austin plus 25. And then you can come over here. And it has this little indicator over here telling you how your audience size looks. If it's too specific, your ad won't run. And then if it's too broad, then you're not going to get very good results. So you want to kind of reel it in a little bit. So in the screen space somewhere. This will change in just a second when I get to budget, but you can get estimated daily results. And this is helpful for setting expectations with your clients. So you can say over, at this budget, over X amount of days, then we're expected to have a daily reach of this many, or we're expected to reach a total amount of this many people. And then you can come back and compare your actual results to those benchmarks at the end of the campaign. So I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to do 21 though, not 18. And I'm going to do 55. So you can come in here and change your parameters, male, female. You can put some interest targeting on it if you want to, but with lookalike audiences, if I'm setting the correct demographic information with location, age, and gender, then I tend to leave interest targeting out because I'm just going to rely on Facebook to do that for me, unless I'm going to do some like offensive interest targeting. So that can be for brands that have somewhat of a, maybe a controversial topic or something that is trolled frequently. You can come in here and kind of say, I'm going to add this interest targeting to like defend myself from people. For example, we are working with a company right now who is in the women's rights arena. And so we can come in and we can say, we want to target this lookalike audience with this geographical and demographic information, but liberal politics, so that we're maybe excluding people that wouldn't be so receptive to that messaging. I have a chat, let me see. Is there a reason you're not using Power Editor? Power Editor is more advanced. And so for kind of a overview, I prefer to do Ads Manager. It's much more user-friendly, but if you are familiar with Ads Manager and or Power Editor, I recommend Power Editor. There's more functionality and there's more room for error until you get familiar with it. Maybe we'll do a Power Editor one another time. Connection type, you can do fans of page. Oh, another chat. Yeah, maybe. You can include or exclude people who are engaged with your page or events. You can add them here. And then automatic placements is just, Facebook is going to optimize based on what they deem is best. And of course, that's what they recommend. Edit placements. So this is going to be useful when you have an audience that is not on those other placements. So if you have an older audience who is likely to not be on Instagram, exclude Instagram, because Instagram is typically more expensive than Facebook. If you want to drive really cheap mobile traffic, then come in here and exclude, you can exclude, like down here, you can exclude well, this is new. You can exclude desktop. Oh, here we go. All devices. Mobile only, desktop only. So I've done this before when I'm doing a really broad top funnel. And also another thing that you'll want to do is a hack, I guess, is you can go into the pixel and you can look and see, and ours doesn't have any activity in it. Can't show you a client pixel, but when you get into a pixel, you can go to the activity and you can look at your events. So you'll have page view and checkout initiated and purchase. So let's say those are your events. You'll tend to see that the page views are all happening on mobile, and the further they move into that customer experience, they're most likely converting to desktop to finish that purchase, just because like putting in your numbers on your phone is irritating or whatever. So if you're driving cheap mobile traffic but not asking someone to purchase, you might come in here and exclude desktop, which also tends to be more expensive. But if you want to drive conversions, for example, you can come in and exclude mobile because your audience is more likely to purchase when they're on their desktop. So that's where it gets, that's where this part gets handy in here. All right, lifetime budget, you can set like, I want to spend $1,000 until the event, or I'm going to do a daily budget. Daily budget is really helpful if you're doing, if you have something with a ongoing time frame, like an abandoned cart campaign or an evergreen ad, then you'll do your daily budgets. And I'm just going to kind of fly through this because technically we only have 10 minutes left, so I'm not going to do this like I'm actually creating it. You'll set your scheduling here. And then link clicks, sometimes you'll get this friendly little pop-up from Facebook that says, especially if you're optimizing for conversions, there's a learning phase where Facebook is figuring out what to do with your ad and who to serve it to best to make the most bang for your buck. And so there'll be a homie and they'll come in here and they'll say, during the learning phase, instead of optimizing for conversions, do you want to optimize for landing page views or link clicks? And you'll say yes. And then once Facebook has learned enough, that's when they'll do the switch and start converting for or optimizing for conversions. So always consider what Facebook has to say in here. They usually have some pretty good tips for you. Reset. Okay. All right, and so this is where you're going to get into actually creating your ads and doing any of your A/B testing with copy or creative. On the previous page, there was a pop-up there that said optimize for creative A/B testing, and so you can do that too. It's a new Facebook feature. Get in there and fiddle with it. If you're a control freak like me, you won't want to do that because you'll want to have complete control over everything, but it definitely is efficient and maximizes your time. So you'll come in here. These are your different ad formats. This is where you'll upload your picture and then your destination URL. So this is what you want. You want this to look pretty. Your text, this will show up above your, kind of in the post copy, above the ad, post copy. The headline, you want this to be concise and clear and usually a call to action. So for our campaign, for this, we'll do speakers announced, buy your badge today, for example. And then your call to action, you can choose no button. And I've actually heard conflicting results on this. Some people say that no button actually increases their metrics, but I like to use buttons, especially when they're super relevant, like shop now, or for this campaign. There isn't really one for this campaign. Some, depending on which objective you choose, you can actually write in your own now, which is very exciting. But if you have a downloadable, for example, you'll do download, apply now. Display link, again, is where you want it to be pretty. Newsfeed description is what's going to show up in the little link thumbnail. Business partner, so if you're partnering with someone like, we have a client right now who's a restaurant and they're doing a whiskey pairing night with a local distillery, and so we've listed the distillery as their business partner. It's not always required right now, but it is required if you are paying someone to do something for your company. So like Kim Kardashian is supposed to always be tagging the company that she's working with in her branded content when she's running ads, for example. Your URL parameters. So if you want to get really granular in tracking individual ads down to the creative audience level, then you can use the Facebook Google Analytics URL creator in here. And if you do your URL, this usually stays the same, always Facebook. And then your medium is what your bid type is. So CPC, CPM, whatever that is. And then your campaign name, I just do the full campaign thing. You can do whatever suits your fancy. Campaign term. So this is going to be your target audience. So I think for this one we did 1% lookalike of 2017 attendees. So that I'm going to remember what that means later. And I also recommend Airtable, which has a template for digital campaigns, and they have a UTM creator in there. They also have, it's pretty awesome. I'll show you real quick. I'm starting to get into the tools that we use, so I'll just jump ahead just a little bit before coming back. Let's see, advertising campaigns. So you'll have your campaigns, your ad sets and creative UTM builder, platform summary, and customer stage summary. It takes a little bit of setup because you'll have to be inputting this information, but once you input it here, for example, it has formulas to pull it through those other tabs. So this can be a good way to keep track of things if you want to get really granular there and you're maybe afraid that you're not going to remember what one LL 2017 means in a month. And then content, so this is your specific ad. So I might name it like if I was using a picture of gay Gaddis, I would come in here and do that, or even something like ad one, whatever kind of naming mechanism you want to use for your specific ad. But then you can go into Google Analytics and track these on each level. So then let's say like ad one. This is going to be my full URL. And what I'm going to want to put into this tracking area is up to the question mark. So that I'm going to make sure that Bruno. Sorry, I think I just got a package. Hey, Bruno, stop. I have a very protective boxer who would never do anything except lick you if you showed up at my front door. Bruno, hush. So this should be green when your pixel is installed correctly, and then confirm, and then you'll get your review screen, and that's how you place your ads. So 5 minutes left. I'm going to breeze through these tools that I prefer to use, and then I'll take any questions that you have, or we can talk about strategy too. So Lumen 5 is a very easy tool, my favorite preferred tool for creating video from written content. So you can take a client blog, or you can start from scratch, like I've done with this top 10 reasons to trust mortgage experts. This was a print campaign that they did, and so I just copy and pasted those top 10 reasons in here. And the way that you do it is super simple, and it'll pull pictures from royalty-free Creative Commons, or you can upload your own. So you can go straight from a URL, like a blog URL, or you can copy paste your own content, like from a print campaign, or if you want to say like showcase speakers for Social Media Week Austin 2018. And then I can say like Molly that y'all had last week, Molly, and Jane Coe. And just do whatever else here that I want to do, continue, and then obviously you'll have much more content here on the left side once you have an entire blog. But then you'll just click here, and so these will be your slides. Continue, and then when there's more textual context, it will pull actual relevant pictures. We're probably going to get some really weird pictures here, but then, let's see, yeah, real weird pictures here. But you can come in here and look for like, I don't know, computer, if I wanted to use that as my title screen. I could use that, and I'll just drag it over here. And then uploads, I'll actually upload pictures of Molly and Jane. And then continue, and you can export your video from there. There is a watermark on the end of these videos for the free version. There is it's $49 a month for the paid version, which feels like a lot to me. So Lumen 5, please never watch. It's a closed group, so I don't have to worry about that. But what I do is I download the watermarked video, I text it to myself, or email it to myself if I was on PC, Apple. I text it to myself, and then I save it to my phone, and then I trim my video in iMovie. Really, you can do it on your Mac, but it's way easier on your phone. I trim it just a little bit right there in my either iMovie or my photo library, and then I text it back to myself, and I've got a video without a watermark. One day we'll pay for it, I promise. Animoto is also going to create video for you. With this, there's not the function to copy, paste, or use the URL to kind of create those slides for you. You'll have to put a little bit more on the front side of that to make the ads or the slides yourself, but it does give you more control over what you end up doing.
Is making it fun to shop IKEA.
Not this one. Not this one. This one. This one. This one. So you can add your fun music there. I'm trying to, but gives you much more capability. This is an uploaded video from a screen grab that I did of navigating their website, for example. These are pictures that they had in their catalog. And so this is good for like a how-to or before and after, or really anything. But the cool thing here is that you can say, I want this slide to show for 2 seconds and the next slide to show for 5 if your caption's longer. Canva, I'm sure that y'all are familiar with Canva, but you can use these to create graphics at scale. But I now have started to become more acquainted with and prefer Design Bold. It's free. There is a free option and then the paid option that will allow you to download transparent backgrounds for PNG files is $19 a month, or subscribe to AppSumo and they'll run deals for this. And we bought it on Black Friday and we got lifetime access to the pro version for $39. So just stay on the lookout for that and use free while you have it, and then stick to Canva for your PNG, which I think you actually have to pay for Canva for transparent PNGs too. But the thing that I like about DesignBold is that I personally, and I have somewhat of a graphic design background, so I'm way pickier than some other people might be in Canva. DesignBold has like align function so that you can make sure that everything is left aligned or center aligned, and they have different, just deeper functionality and what I think is higher quality templates to start with. And then Airtable, and look at that, $12.50. I couldn't have done that again if I tried. If y'all want to ask any questions you have in chat, or if you have a strategy that you'd like to throw at me and Claire, we can give you our real-time feedback for the next 10 minutes or so. While I wait for people to come in with their questions, I'm just going to review this to make sure that I didn't forget anything for y'all. And Claire, I can unmute you whenever you want me to. Let's see. Oh.
Hey. Hi. That was awesome. Thanks for walking us through a real live campaign that we're going to be setting live this afternoon. I know we had someone in the group who wanted to talk about LinkedIn ads. I know that was something that we thought we might tack on to the very end of this. We're sort of running out of time, and we could probably just do an entire LinkedIn ad hangout. But is there anything kind of, obviously most of our clients, we work in Facebook ads a whole lot, but there are some occasions where LinkedIn ads make more sense for some of our clients, whether they're in B2B is an often time, or particularly around hiring and recruiting. My one big, takeaway to pass along to you guys about LinkedIn ads versus Facebook is that the click-through rate is so much more expensive, but if you're recruiting for a medical device sales position, you're going to get a much more qualified audience who's looking for positions like that in a platform like LinkedIn, in a way that they're not going to be doing that in Facebook. So sometimes paying, dollars per click rather than cents per click seems maybe kind of crazy. But depending on the client, LinkedIn ads can be really useful depending on the client and the scenario that you're looking for. And then did you have any other kind of tips about people just kind of navigating LinkedIn ads?
Yeah, so Claire did say that there had been some recent requests for LinkedIn, and yeah, we could definitely do a whole class about that. I actually wrote down the specific kind of ads you can do. You can do self-serve, which is what I recommend starting with, because it's really easy to set up and it gives you much more control, and it's also kind of a entry level to familiarizing yourself. And then there's sponsored content, which is pretty much a boosted post on Facebook, but it's from your company page on LinkedIn. Text ads, sponsored InMail. Sponsored InMail is probably one of the most effective formatting, ad formatting on LinkedIn, but like Claire said, they are more expensive. I mean, we're talking like tens of dollars per applicant versus like $1.50 event response on Facebook. But just making that jump from Facebook to LinkedIn, you're just targeting your audience and qualifying it already. So it's worth the spend for certain clients and certain goals. And then dynamic ads, which are pretty amazing. And I've heard Claire mention this, that on Facebook, somehow you can like turn blogs into a store catalog. I still want to look into that for dynamic ads, but I hope that I think that we heard it like Chatter somewhere.
We did.
Dynamic ads are like the highest level on Facebook and LinkedIn that you can go, but it's a dream. The perks of LinkedIn is better spam control and more niche audiences. You'll want to pay attention to image tracking and creative call to actions, just like you will on Facebook. But where you're going to want to pay extra attention is once you determine your budget and then set your objective and targeting, that's going to tell you, for example, you're going to pay way less attention to your copy on like a sponsored content than a sponsored InMail. So that's all I have for you without going like another hour.
We do have a couple questions. Al said he would like a template for Facebook to show reporting. Al, there are a couple companies that you can pay that will do some kind of light Facebook reporting for you. The main thing that we recommend, honestly, Courtney and I are big fans of native Facebook reporting. There are other ones like Sprout Social, Ad Espresso, and they'll put it together in kind of a visually compelling way for your clients to understand in a more digestible way. But really nothing is going to beat Facebook's own reporting tools. So those are all exportable. Courtney, if you go into Ads Manager, we can show you kind of, if you just go into like maybe ours, the Best Practice Media ad account. We're only running one ad right now for Facebook event responses for Social Media Week, but I can show you how to pull those reports real quick. The main thing to keep in mind, and I've been doing this for a long time, and I made this mistake the other day. I had put this month, and I was asking Courtney, why in the world is this showing $0? And it would turn out it was because it was January 2nd, and it was only showing me data for January 1st and January 2nd. So up there in the top right corner, that's a really important thing to look at, is to make sure you have your dates set to what you want them to be. And if you say this month, that's different than the past 30 days. So we could look in and say, okay, how much did we spend in December? So Courtney would go in and she'd select December 1st through December 31st. And then she'd set that. And then that's going to...
If you want to compare month over month, for example, you can.
Right. So just for December, we can kind of pull this as if this were for a client to see how much we spent. Hold on, let me move that. So if you scroll over to the right, sometimes this is so funny. Oh yeah, this is going to reload the page for you. Anyway, that's the best way to kind of to see all your data there and to show reporting. All of that is exportable. Of course, it's going to go. You need to show page like post engagement and things like that. Okay, so you're talking about organic results and reach as well. Anytime you're boosting a post, it's going to show up here in Ads Manager. But if you're just talking about overall page likes and engagement, you can do that as well. And then Carolyn also says pros and cons of duplicating Facebook ads versus starting new. Really, I'll let Courtney answer this as well, but for me, the main thing is just a time saver. So if I have a campaign that's sort of similar, or I've got a campaign running, but I want to add an ad set, instead of if I start from scratch, like let's say I want to create a totally different ad set. If I start from scratch, then I'm going to have to add in the like maybe 4 ads that I'm running under that ad set. So I can just duplicate the ad set. I can completely change the ad set, but then all of the ads will have been duplicated underneath it already. So, if I'm A/B testing audiences, then I'm definitely going to want to be duplicating my ad set. But what's really important is figuring out at what phase you're duplicating that process. You can duplicate an ad set, or a campaign. And really for me, it's just a big time saver. How do you feel, Courtney?
Yeah. The cons would be if you're moving very quickly, then you can skip stuff. And so you'll need to change something, but you didn't. And so just make sure that you're paying attention to the review screen at the end. But it's a huge time saver, because you really should only be A/B testing one thing at a time. So you only have to go back and change one thing versus recreating the whole thing. And it's really easy. I'll do it real quick here. So like if we wanted to A/B test on the ad set level versus for like a new audience, and then you come in here. And while this is loading back to the post engagement reporting, it all shows in Ads Manager, or you can also go into paid publishing tools or insights and look there too. So I'll come in here to the ad set level and change my audience, and then all 4 of those ads that you just saw, they're already created. And so I just review and continue. And so when she was creating those ads, she likely, I'm assuming, Claire, you're A/B testing the image here. So same copy, she created one ad and then duplicated that ad, and all she had to do was switch out the image. And then when you're doing campaigns, let's say that there was a deadline or an end date on this campaign. Once it ends, you can't restart it. So you can just duplicate the whole thing and then change what you need to change.
Yeah. My example is we had a client who, after I had created, for a client, they think, oh, hey, we'll just change this one thing and I'll tell you guys and it's easy for you to do. But they don't know that I'm running literally 40 ads for them. So I'm running one campaign, which to them in their mind is ad, but it's one campaign with 5 ad sets and they each have, 4 or whatever. So that'd be 20 ads underneath them. And so when a client says, oh, hey, can we tweak the copy of this ad? That's going in every single time and tweaking that copy. So what I did is I know that this was for a promo code. So instead of going in and tweaking the original campaign, I just duplicated the entire thing. Then I edited the copy in all 40 of those ads. Just a very menial task. But then when I had done that, because I duplicated it, I can turn the other one on and I'm not going to have to go back and undo all my work at the end of that promo code discount time. That makes sense.
Yes, and then back to the exporting thing, the columns here, you can change it based on what Facebook has set up, or you can always customize columns. And when you customize columns, you can set attribution windows here, like a 28 click window versus like a 1-day view. And then you can, once you have that all set up, you can save it and name it and it'll always be there for you. And then export is right here. It exports it gives you these options.
So you guys, we are, over time, even including the Q&A time. Obviously, it's so clear. We could talk about Facebook ads like only in this group if we wanted to, but we don't because it's not the only thing in our world. But every time we revisit this, we just fill the hours so quickly because there's just so much going on. This is stuff that just moves at the speed of light. And so, staying up with Courtney and I just discovered a new feature yesterday that we hadn't seen before. So, there's always kind of new stuff going on in here. So keeping up with
I'm
it.
like reviewing my notes. I'm like, oh, I didn't talk about engagement series or schedules. And so.
Yeah, we could probably have this be like a monthly thing just around Facebook ads themselves because they're so they're not complicated though. Like once you really fully understand them, they're really really fun. If you like math and science, but knowing how to do them right is really really important. You shouldn't be running web traffic ads if you don't have the pixel installed for your clients. There's just a lot of stuff that we see people out there doing that's pretty 101 that needs to be fixed. And so Facebook, as Courtney mentioned, she shared that link in the chat for the Pixel training that Facebook does for free. There's also Facebook Blueprint has various modules on this. And of course, this group right here, Jesse is a Facebook Ads Pro. So there are tons and tons of trainings walking all the way through this process. But as we said, this is stuff that's changing on a constant basis. So, every week I'm getting emails from different groups that I'm in about things that have changed and updated. So this is a moving, fluid topic. And thanks you guys for joining us. Getting good feedback in the chat. The replay, not that for those of you who want to rewatch, will be made available tomorrow. And we will see you again next week. Thanks so much, Courtney, for holding down the fort for me in Austin while I kickstart my mini vacation here in Colorado from the ski lodge.
Break anything, especially legs. We need them.
Yes. You don't need legs to do social media, I don't think.
All last year.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Take care, and we'll see you in a week. Bye.